Hey guys, it's Spaces Sims, and we are back with more Winter's Wish, continuing Kuka's route, possibly getting our affection ending. I think we're close. We have no more choices. It's been a few days since I played, and things have been crazy at work, so I've not been able to play as much, as I'd like to. But anyway, we were chasing after Kuga. He ran away because he's possessed by Hanzo now. So, because the seal just broke and he was like, but I love you, because we were being attacked by some dude who Hanzo set up to attack us. But anyway, panicking, I took off after him and flew out into the street. No. In the moonlight, I saw black footprints that Hanzo, a Blightfall, was leaving behind. There weren't any right by the base, but I could make out faint ones when I looked a little further into the distance. That proved more than anything that Hanzo's takeover was coming along. Although the thought of Kuga being up ahead honestly made me feel like I might lose my mind. I turned on my heel and ran full sprint toward the Oniwaban base. Good for her! I thought she was going to follow him, and I was like, that's probably stupid. But nah, she's doing the right thing. Believing it was the best thing to do in this situation. It is. Excuse me, is anyone here? After flinging the doors open, I saw both Miyagi and Yoichi standing in the foyer. Man, this is why everybody needs cell phones. I know. I'm so glad you're here.
Of course I am. Just finished my shift keeping watch over Maharu.
Anyway, why are you so worked up? Weren't you tasked with guarding Genjuro? Yeah, about that. Actually, Hanzo's possessed Kuga's body. Huh? You're joking, right? Attacks like that don't apply to Genjuro since he's a vessel. Let's just go. I'll explain on the way. Shut up, losers. Get in the van. It's all my fault. I was attacked by one of Hanzo's form folk, so Kuga left the base to rescue me. And because of what happened, the seal on Kuga's heart came undone. Afterwards, I explained everything to Miyagi and Yoichi. Why Kuga's heart came back, what Hanzo's aim was, and that Kuga had left Ito. The thing is, we could have explained this like, I will explain, come fucking with me before we lose the trail.
No way. If a vessel like Genjiro's been possessed by a Blightfall, it'll be ridiculously strong.
I'm so sorry. If I'd had the slightest inkling something like this might have happened, maybe I wouldn't have taught Kuga about feeling worried. I bit my lip out of both regret and guilt. Miyagi, noticing the uncharacteristically sullen look on my face, placed his hand on my shoulder. He's like, it's not because you taught him about being worried. It's because he fell in love with you. Like, there's a difference. Spacey, there's no need for you to apologize. I should have known this was a possibility. I was the one who told him about his past, after all. Oh, sure, yeah, there's that too. Absolutely. It's not all my fault. I noticed Genjiro had been acting less vessel-like recently, but to be frank, I was hoping to just keep an eye on him. Miyagi... Only because Genjiro was protected by the barrier on the base, though. I thought Hanzo would shoot for other form folk instead. I can't believe the seal on his heart broke so quickly, or that Genjiro's body fit Hanzo's requirements.
Well, I'm sure he absolutely reeks of Blightfall. Vessels are the closest thing to them that exists.
But Hanzo was convinced that Kuga was human.
Something must have tipped him off. Hanzo met his eventual killer, Gengoemon Akahori, over 20 years ago. Akahori would have been about 50 when Hanzo and his older brother challenged him to a duel. Maybe he realized he couldn't possibly be that young. It seems like he's been watching us in spirit form this whole time.
Neither Miyagi nor I could think of anything to say in response to what Yoichi matter-of-factly pointed out. Is this the time to be having... Can we walk and talk? Do we not? Can we not do two things at once? I'm not asking you to rub your stomach, pat your head, walk, talk, and chew gum at the same time. I'm just asking you to walk and talk. Just two things. But then I whipped my head up like I'd come to my senses. Now wasn't the time to be depressed. Again, little less talk, little more action. Let's analyze the situation, shall we? Genjiro seems to have left Ito. Any idea where he's headed? Yes, he has. Since Hanzo's a Blightfall, he's been leaving tracks behind just like before. If we follow them...
I see. We should follow them as far as they go while we still can. Could you trace his steps? And Yuichi, can you join her?
Got it.
Meanwhile, I'll let the rest of the Oniwaban know. We need to prepare for the worst case scenario and shore up our protection of Ito and Shiota Castle.
Can we worry about my boyfriend more than the damn castle? No, I get it.
Gotta worry about the shogunate.
The worst case scenario. I mean, that's a valid concern because Genjo's pretty fucking strong, so. Right. It wouldn't be strange at all if that happened. It already couldn't get much worse. I think it can, and I think you saying that is not a good thing.
I'm counting on you then.
With that, we promptly went our separate ways. The next day...
Arrest all the farm folk! Off them before they all get back up!
Off them? Another new and unusual event had taken place in Ito. Countless farm folk were collapsed on the side of the road, not moving a single muscle, even after constables had tied them up with rope. It was like they'd been turned back into silent objects. These were the farm folk who had been causing trouble. Although it seemed obvious the constables and volunteer police would seize the opportunity to arrest them. Wait, what do you mean you're just arresting them? Will you hold yourselves responsible if they start going berserk again?
Shouldn't we destroy their wooden tags and objects while we still can?
The citizens gave a few bits of unsettling advice while the police carried on. There was no telling when the farm folk might wake up and start acting out. They were probably desperate to alleviate that concern. This wasn't the only place I'd caught conversations like this either. I saw them happen all over Ito.
I don't think I've ever seen Ito this on edge.
Yeah. Yuichi and I stood still, watching the confusion going on around us in town. While watching people walk past to arrest farm folk out of the corner of my eye, I secretly attempted to perform the snow sacrament on the farm folk. But it still had no effect. They were still asleep. In fact, it was so ineffective that it didn't even make a dent in the number of black threads wrapped around their bodies. Why?
Probably because Genjiro's left Ito, and they may have escaped Hanzo's grip, but still don't have control over their own bodies. They're essentially puppets right now. They've just lost their puppet master. They have no autonomy either.
Meaning, unless we defeat Hanzo, they'll never return to normal.
Exactly. On that note, Hanzo's footprints definitely continue up ahead, right?
Yeah, maybe find your boyfriend first so we can, exorcise the demon in his body and, Right. Did I say right? Did I read that? I'm just like, she's like, wow, let's just, girl, find your boyfriend. I mean, you did the right thing by going to the base, but now it's like 62 hours later. It's like we're like, oh, we'll find him in the morning. What the fuck? There seems to be no urgency right now. Am I the only one that feels a sense of urgency? My eyes could see that his tracks led away from Ito. I checked last night, but it was hard to distinguish his footprints from normal emotional imprints in the moonlight, so we came to take another look. Okay, at least that makes sense. The footprints must have been affected by Hanzo's growing control over Kuga, because the farther they got from the base, the deeper and more distinct they became. In which case, we'd be able to trace these steps all the way to Hanzo.
How about we head back to the base for now?
After verifying, we headed over to the base. You're like, I think his footprints are here, but I can't quite tell in the dark. Okay, so then we go out in the day. Yep, nope, definitely. And then we're like going back. We're not... Again, what the... Okay. And when we arrived, I mean, I understand we can't just go the two of us. Other people have to come with us, because it's not a fight that the two of us can win. But still, we were just like languidly chilling out, filing our nails, having a spa day, like... We would do a little bit of shopping, and then it's like, oh, right, we were going to go save Kuga. I forgot. Like, what the fuck, people?
You're back?
The rest of the Oniwaban were there, waiting for us to return. They'd all come because now that Hanzo, or rather Kuga, had left Ito, we no longer needed to guard farm folk who might have served as containers. Did Hanzo's tracks lead out of Ito? I really want to grab Kyoshiro and shake him and be like, why is no one freaking out? Because he's the last person that would ever have any kind of a personality, and that's just funnier to me. Yes, I'm absolutely sure of it. We weren't able to determine where they went afterward, though. I see. We know what we need to do, then. I hereby command you to take Hanzo down. You're to follow the tracks he left while the three captains stay behind. Meanwhile, we'll work together with the public Oniwaban to safeguard Ito. At this part, at this point, that's our only option.
Understood, sir. Incidentally, were you able to prepare the temporary container we'll be using to get rid of Hanzo?
Relax, it's right here.
Yabuta gripped a small doll in his hand as he said this.
You were like, oh, I just thought that was your emotional support doll.
Around the doll's neck was a wooden tag with the name Hanzo Ishii carved into it.
It's easy to use. Once you've evicted Hanzo from Kuga's body, throw the doll at him while he's in spirit form. Doing so should cause Hanzo's soul to be sucked into it automatically. Should. Notice should. I mean, sure, that's how it's going to work, but... A rather simple device.
But what if Hanzo doesn't leave Kuga's body?
It goes without saying. Gendra will have to be slain along with Hanzo. There will be even more harm done if we let Hanzo have his way. I mean, I understand your thought process. But, okay, Spacey, I'm gonna need you to grab him. But what the fuck are you thinking? That's my boyfriend! Damn it, robot boyfriend! What are you doing? Kuga was also a robot boyfriend, but he was more like, I am a robot trying to figure things out, and Kyoshiro was literally just a fucking brick wall. The formfolk all around the country might fall into Hanzo's hands, not just here in Ito. And if that happens, the country is doomed. He's not wrong, but I don't have to like it. Kyoshiro's response reminded me of what I had seen in town earlier. Before, when things were peaceful, humans and formfolk alike lived together in harmony. People readily calling out to one another on the street, people happily chatting away after bumping into each other at izakayas. I loved that Ito too. Those things were unimaginable in the current state Ito was in, however. The thought of this hopeless sight spreading outside the capital made my chest tighten. But I couldn't possibly sacrifice Kuga to keep that from happening. I'd seen it coming to a certain extent, but it was still a massive shock hearing it said out loud. No, I won't allow that to happen to him. I'll save him before it comes down to that. And thank you for your help, guys. Miyaji must have felt the same way I did. But that was all he said, sensing there were many different thoughts packed into that brief sentence. We all nodded in agreement. Afterwards, I immediately left Ito with the rest of the Oniwaban. As much as I wanted to make my horse go full sprint, I knew that wouldn't fly. I wouldn't be able to readily follow Hanzo's tracks if I did, so we couldn't make them go any faster than a brisk walk, even though we were all on horseback. I also couldn't ride a horse by myself, so I was sitting behind Yoichi, who was carrying the doll that would serve as a temporary container for Hanzo. I hope Kuga's okay. Now, see, if this were Yoichi's route, fucking sitting behind him on a horse would be a great CG, but I feel like it'd be just, like, not a good one to have in Kuga's route, you know? I'm sure he's all alone, desperately trying to hang on right now. He looked like he was suffering so much. You want me to pet you, and then when I do, you bite me? What is wrong with you? I love you, but you're being a big fat dick. I don't want to pet you. He's like, pet me, and then I like go to pet him, and then he shrieks and bites me. And now he's like, hey, he just peeped at me and like nipped at me like, bitch, pet me. Just very mean, you know that? You've got some fucking problems today. I didn't have a very good day. No, I didn't. We had problems that we got to fix at work, and it was not very good. And now you're being mean to me, and I need you to be nice to me, or I'm gonna cry. Not even faced. He's like, you're not really crying. You're such a brat. Anyway. Nevertheless, I wonder what it feels like for the seal on your heart to come undone. We're gonna teach you that eventually. After Yoichi, I think, is Kinji. Oh! Really? Really? Wait a minute. We get to do Kuga, then Yoichi, then Kinji? That's amazing. Yeah! Yeah! Alright! I mean, Tojo is great, don't get me wrong, but like, Kuga, Yoichi, and Kinji are my favorites, personally, just eyeballing them. And then we have to do Tominari and then Otaro. Otaro being my least favorite. Because he's the cutesy little boy. And I'm not into the cutesy boys. So that's disappointing, but whatever. I'm sure his route's going to be kind of interesting because, like, why are you last? Why are you kind of sort of locked? You know what I mean? Like, what's going on with that? It's going to be some good mysteries there, you know? Anyway, I can't wait to teach Kinji what it's like to love. We continued making our way down the road, following the footprints that seemed to go on forever. Meanwhile, Kinji started up a conversation for once. Huh? You curious about that, Kinji? Otaro seems like he probably has emotions and he's just never told anyone. I suppose I am, yes. I'm the eldest of us here, and yet I've not once had the slightest inkling something like that might happen. Oh, that makes it even more wonderful when I break your fucking seal. Oh, I'ma break that. So wildly inappropriate. True, me neither. I'm honestly shocked that it happened to Kuga.
A seal sounds impressive, but they're not really. I'm fine without a heart, though.
Oh, again, that's gonna make cracking yours better, too. You are? I found myself joining the conversation, drawn in by how assertively Yoichi had said this. It's going to be funny when we get there and they're like, wow, the seal broke, probably because of his memories, whatever, and not because he was like, I couldn't stand the idea of losing you. We kind of neglected to mention that part to anyone. Did she not? I'm pretty sure he said that. Am I just imagining it? Because, like, I mean, you saw it not yesterday, the day before, but it's probably been like 3 or 4 days. Because I didn't record this yesterday. It's been at least 3 to 4 days ago, something like that. So I don't 100% remember, but I'm pretty sure he said something to that effect. So, like, when we finally get there and save him, and then there's going to be like, there better be a kiss or something, or there's going to be some kind of confession or something. Everyone's going to be like, you neglected to mention that, you hussy. We're like, didn't I? Whoops. Anyway.
Course, like, take all this. Thinking about it with a kind heart or whatever, you'd feel bad for Hanzo, who's a blightful because his family was murdered.
So, basically, how Spacey probably feels right now. You know, despite what happened to Genjiro. Well, hearing them point out something I'd been trying not to think about left me at a loss for words. But that was all. It's okay. Now's not the time to care about Hanzo's situation anyway. Not when it's made life hell for Kuga and all the form folk. Besides, many more people will be sad if we don't intervene. Not exactly the kind of situation where you can sympathize with him. You're like, I might have been sad about his situation before, but he's acting like a total twat, so, like, sympathy gone, motherfucker. That said, if you do feel any kind of sympathy for Hanzo deep down, it could cause you to miss when dealing the finishing blow. When you think about it that way, not having a heart's much more convenient for carrying out our duties as vessels in Oniwaban. For sure. What have I done to Kuga? I thought I was doing him a favor by teaching him what it meant to worry and talking to him about his feelings. This is so adorable. She's so clueless, because I'm pretty sure he said, I don't want to lose you. Or the thought of losing you or something and that. And she just, that went right over her motherfucking head. Like, I know the man's taller than you, but, like, pay attention when he's talking. You might have caught it. Yeah. You know what I mean? She's like, it's because I taught him about worrying. And that's when it's like, oh, sweetie. Sweetie. She's going to be like, I'm sorry. I taught you about worrying and embracing your feelings, and this is what happened. He's like, no, it's because I love you. She's going to be like, wait, what? Oh, wow. You know what? That's actually cuter. That is so much cuter that she's this derpy right now. I'm here for this. In the end, all I'd done was expose him to danger. Just thinking about it filled me with regret.
How was Kuga when it happened?
Huh?
When the seal broke, did he dislike it?
Look at him smile. Look at his beaming little face. No, he was happy. Right. How could I have forgotten that? How did I forget how happy I'd been too, seeing him so overjoyed? I love that he was so overjoyed. He barely has a smirk on his face, and it's basically like Tominari's like slightly smirk face. But that's beaming for Kuga. I mean, you've seen Kyoshiro beam. We've seen him be like really mad, you've seen him be really extremely happy, and you've seen him be perplexed. He has the same face every time, because he's a robot, but I imagine if he was overjoyed happy and we could romance the man, that's exactly what he would look like all the time, just stone-faced. And I love it. Somebody would be like, is he in a bad mood? No, that's his happy face. And you'd be like, that's his happy face? Oh, no, now he's thinking. It's the same face. And then he glances over and you're like, oh, now he's mad at you. You're like, but he hasn't even blinked once. And you're like, yeah, no, I'm in love with him, so I totally know all his robot faces. Which is literally the only one. Why can't I romance our fucking daddies? I mean, I know we can't romance Miyagi because he's got a wife and a kid. But why can't I robot? Why can't I romance my robot and my emo wizard? Like, what the fuck? Anyway. Really? Happy, huh? You were happy once too when I romanced you, cutie. I shudder at the mere thought of it. But perhaps the fact that we feel that way is but another technique to keeping our seals in place. I love how you were like, oh! I shudder at the thought of being happy. Oh, I'm gonna make you so fucking happy, you son of a bitch. I'm gonna make you regret saying you don't want to be happy. Oh, I'll make you so happy you want to die. Sounds like such a mean threat.
Well, you'd probably feel a lot of other things you'd never felt before if your seal broke. Huh. You mean other than being annoyed or hungry?
It's kind of funny because, like, you can feel annoyed. So see, you do have feelings. You think I'd start wanting things besides getting Kamame to like me? Oh, stop it. This conversation is adorable and I love Tojo so much. You like having a family of your own? Well, you might even feel like going to the red light district. I have zero interest in either of those things now, though. Yoichi's like, I'd feel things other than being pissed off and hungry? Yeah, sweetie, hangry is not the only emotion. It's amazing. And Tojo's like, would I want other things than a bird to like me? Because right now that's the only thing I think about. It keeps me awake at night. And then fucking Otaru's over here like, maybe we'd want to get banged. We'd want to go get laid. We should go to the red light district and get us some strange. But like, not right now though. Why? Why in the fuck? Okay. Oh, dear God. She's over here like, this is the weirdest conversation. They seem to be having a lot of fun talking about this for people who just said they didn't need hearts. To them, this was probably nothing more than a way to kill some time. Based on how much the conversation had picked up, the vessels were a bit curious what they'd be like after regaining their hearts.
I'd love to ask Kuga himself.
Tomonari said this rather casually. I watched the rest of the vessels, not along in agreement, as I thought to myself, I have no idea if Kuga's still glad that the seal on his heart broke after what happened. Oh, he's gonna be. But whether he regretted it or not was... Whether he regretted it or not... Oh, but whether he regretted it or was still thankful, that makes more sense. I can't read. I'd made up my mind. I was gonna rescue Kuga and would accept however he felt. The end. A few days later, Jesus, we're back in our village. It's not really our village, but... Wait, is this? Following Hanzo's footprints has led us to the foot of the... Oh no, it is her home! I was like, it's our village! And I was like, I'm just assuming it's like stock photo of any village. But no, it's our village! Shit! Anyway, following Hanzo's footprints had led us to the foot of the mountain where I'd once lived with my father and Mimi a long time ago. Like, good on them. Again, seriously, I figured it was just going to be like, oh, it's supposed to just be some other village. You know, but I recognize the background. But nope, it's our village. I took a quick peek, but the village seemed peaceful to me. There was no huge commotion going on. Hanzo didn't seem to have any effect here, since there were no form folk around. And so this is where he went, huh? And somehow I figured he might come here. What? What do you mean?
On the mountain up ahead. was where we went to pick up Spacey.
Are you saying Genjiro intentionally sought refuge in the young Miss's hometown? How adorable! He went to go shelter himself in the little shack in the mountain I lived in. Oh, so romantic. He might have. Hanzo's footprints also lead into the mountains where I used to live. Man, that makes zero sense to me. Anyway, why don't we tie up our horses and head up there for now? Sure. Seriously, what could this mean? I talked a little about my hometown with Kuga, but never told him where it was. He just sensed you.
It's cold. Does it normally snow here this time of year?
You're like, it normally snows here all the time. It's a mountain. It's always been like that here. But don't worry, his footprints haven't been covered by the snow. I followed them with my eyes as I said this when, here's the thing, even if because obviously, like, the black threads are on the ground. But even though it's snowing, it's like, even if I can't see the threads, you can see the indents of his feet and legs in the snow. So technically his footprints would not have been covered because it's not snowing that hard, you know? There he is. I spotted the person we'd been looking for this entire time. He was in front of the shrine I used to pray to daily when I lived here alone. He must have been worn out because he was sitting up against the shrine and his eyes were shut tight. Kuga! I made my way towards him, desperately pushing my way through the accumulated snow. Spacey. How long had Kuga been sitting there, completely still? His body was covered in snow. Aww. I brushed it away in a hurry as the rest of the group arrived shortly after. Impressive, young miss. You made walking down this path seem trivial. What a relief. Genjiro can still talk. Where's Hanzo? He wouldn't just leave on his own. That'd be way too convenient. Indeed. He's still here inside me. The ghost inside you. We all have a little ghost inside of us. It seems like the god who gave him his powers has some sort of connection to this place. Hanzo willed me into coming here without any hesitation whatsoever. What? The god of the shrine helped Hanzo? Rude! I used to come pray to you all the goddamn time, and then you let some twerp take over my boyfriend? Man, I'm taking back all the cookies I left for you, motherfucker. I could hardly believe it, since this shrine had been a comfort to me when I lived here all by myself. Hanzo's in the process of gaining strength from the shrine, it seems. I can sense his powers growing inside me just sitting here. I know I have to get away from here, but my body won't listen. As he said this, Kuga's ice-cold hand gave mine a firm squeeze. Spacey, perform the snow sacrament on me. You must stop Hanzo. Okay. I clasped both hands around Kuga's, then prayed with all my might. I prayed that Hanzo leaves Kuga's body.
Any luck, Spacey?
I just did it 2 seconds ago. Simmer down. I'm not sure. I'm not getting any response, but I'll keep trying. Spacey, while traveling with Hanzo, I saw into his heart, if only bits and pieces. His heart's already filled with far more hatred and vengeful thoughts than any feelings about losing his family. Hearts, though kind and warm, they can be a sad thing to have. Losing sight of yourself, struggling to recover from unbearable pain, powerless to do anything. Hanzo's only wish is to harm me. To do that, he's been trying to do terrible things using my body. Once he's ready, he's planning to use the brainwashed form folk to attack humans. But if that were to happen, a war between humans and form folk would break out all over, and negative emotions would also build up, putting us in a pretty bad situation. No, I can't let something that horrible happen to people I care about, like Mimi and Mitsu. Miss, this isn't good, and the sun is beginning to set. I gasped when Kinji pointed this out. It was only then that I realized the snow... The snow clouds covering the sky were starting to darken, not just instantly. The sun didn't just start to set, it's down. We're out of time. Don't worry about keeping me alive. You won't be able to defeat him if you do. Be prepared to destroy his container. Me. Stop Hanzo for me, and save him. Don't burden him with the same crimes as Akahori. Kuga, we couldn't possibly... Just then my hands were knocked back by a blast. It happened so suddenly I wasn't able to defend myself, so I was knocked to the ground. Tominari helped me up. When I looked up, leaning on him for support... Oh dear God! Look at what they did to Kuga's poor beautiful face. Oh, he's got like kind of a mask, but he's got the kind of like crazy Hanzo eyes. I was like, what is happening with his face? Okay, it's a mask on it. I couldn't tell right off the bat. I was like, but like, oh no, but he's got like evil Hanzo smirk face. Oh. Honestly, you're hopeless, Genjiro Kuga. Who said I wanted to be saved? Kuga was the one standing there, but he seemed different from before. Sinister black threads unique to Blightfall covered his entire body, yet he didn't seem to be struggling like he had earlier. Part of his face was also covered by the characteristic Blightfall mask. Kuga had been completely possessed by Hanzo. You vessels probably think nothing of killing Genjiro, but I have him here inside me and he doesn't feel the same way. So to kick off my revenge plot, I'll have Genjiro experience what it's like to kill his friends with his own two hands. This'll make for great entertainment. Hanzo whispered this gleefully, all while drawing the touchy at his hip. Like, actually, though, I mean, like, he's evil looking, but it's kind of cool right now. Just as Kuga pointed out earlier, his goal was to make everyone hate him. Why? Why do you hate Kuga so much, even though you know you have the wrong guy? Kuga's the sword your master owned. You're taking your anger out on the wrong... I know that! The look in Hanzo's eyes as he stared in my direction was bone-chillingly cold. I'd sometimes found myself slightly taken aback by the lack of warmth in Kuga's expressions when his heart had still been sealed, but his stare now was far colder. Genjiro Kuga is an Akahori. That's the undeniable truth. But have a look at his face. There's no way he'd look like this if he hadn't inherited a large part of Akahori's soul. I can't stand seeing anything he left still remaining. Young miss, watch out! Hanzo swung the sword in his hand mere moments after shouting this. Look at how hot Kinji looks just standing there with the fucking, like, he's just like, what? Nonchalant, like, hey, look at my dagger, isn't it cool? Like, Kinji intercepted his attack without missing a beat. Double fisting him, nice. The battle had finally begun. A solid swing. I got your back, Kinji. Ha! Doesn't matter how many of you come at me. It makes no difference. Shockingly, Hanzo appeared to be going toe-to-toe with the elite warriors of the Oniwaban. Well, that's because he's possessing one of them, so, I mean, he's got that advantage. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not Hanzo that's good, it's Kuga that's good. He was also using pure swordsmanship instead of resorting to the cheap tricks he'd used in past battles. His moves were ones I'd seen Kuga use many times before. Hanzo and Kuga's bodies seemed to be fairly compatible. You... Too slow. I attempted to slash him any chance I could, but didn't even leave a scratch, clearly demonstrating the difference in strength between Kuga and I.
To be honest, I was kind of hoping to use the blunt edge of my sword. We can't afford to do that. We have to weaken Hanzo to execute our plan.
Like Tominari said, our only option right now was to weaken Kuga's body as much as possible and oust Hanzo from his container. Doing so would bring us back to our original plan. Once we trapped Hanzo inside the doll, we'd be able to destroy him. Before that, we had to deal with the situation we currently had on our hands, being overpowered by Hanzo. Love it! I can feel power welling up from within. Man, Genjiro, I could really get used to being in your body. Get down, everyone! The second I yelled, Hanzo swung his tachi in a huge circle. Yeah! Only a few of them reacted to my cry. The two who were late on the uptake were sliced by the air blades launched from Hanzo's sword. Did we just kill Tominari and Otaro? It was Hanzo's signature move, the Kamaitachi. Otaro, Tominari. Tominari was on his hands and knees after being sent flying through the air, fresh blood gushing from his mouth. He seemed to have just barely avoided a fatal injury, but he'd been deeply wounded. I could tell from a single glance that he wouldn't be able to fight anymore. Well, that sucks. Then Otaro must also be... I couldn't see him because he was buried in the snow, but if he wasn't moving a single muscle, he probably wasn't going to say anything either. I hoped he'd just been knocked unconscious. I can't imagine if you just killed someone. Genjiro would not be able to handle that. He's going to feel guilty enough about hurting his friends, but they'll be like, it wasn't you. But, like, if you killed one of them... Nice. I knew it. I can hear your anguished cries in my head, Genjiro. Who's next on the chopping block? Oh, isn't this a blast, Genjiro Kuga? Meanwhile, things were so tense on the Oniwaban side that you could cut the air with a knife. Well, stop cutting the air and start cutting Kuga. No offense, but of course it was. The battle had barely begun and two Oniwaban were already down.
What now? This isn't looking good. We're down a few people, and if we don't win this soon...
And the tricky thing is his quick draw. If you aren't careful when you get close to him, he'll slice you in half in the blink of an eye. Maybe we should just knock him out. I love that after you say that, you go to Kinji and he's just like, I can do that. The look on his face. Then Kinji glanced backwards. Half buried in the snow behind him was a giant boulder. I have an idea. You two, follow me, please. Young miss, if you could kindly wait some distance away.
Sure, but why?
You guys seem pretty relaxed despite being down a few members. You even got time to sit around and chat? Well, I mean, you're not giving us anything to fight, so, like, whatever, you're all talk. Before Kinji could finish telling us everything, Hanzo rushed in and attacked by quick drawing his sword. Watch out! Here we go. Kinji dodged in the nick of time, then picked up the boulder behind him, just when I wondered what he was going to do with it. Ah! Kinji threw the boulder. It's a boulder. You can pick up what the fuck are you? Was he, a catapult? Was that what he was before they fucking turned him? As Kinji threw the sizable rock as hard as he could with his superhuman strength, it soared through the air like an arrow, boosted by its own immense weight. It hurtled straight toward Hanzo. Huh? I was wondering what you'd do with that. And that's nothing for the famed Oniwaban. Hanzo pulverized the boulder with a quick draw and a sneer on his face. It was all over. Or at least it should have been.
I knew he was ridiculously strong, but to pick up a rock that big all by himself?
But now we're within striking distance. Beat the living daylights out of him. Yeah, you distract him with the boulder. He's like, ha, I can do that. Oh, fuck. What the... Yuichi and Tojo jumped out from the shadows of the boulder Hanzo had just smashed into pieces. This must have been Kinji's plan all along. Blocking Hanzo's field of view with the boulder allowed Yoichi and Tojo to remain hidden in its shadow. Hitting him with the rock would have been good too. Even if the rock were smashed to smithereens, they were within range to take him down with a single strike. And since Hanzo had just attacked with a quick draw, he couldn't immediately counter with an attack of his own. Now the two of them could take Hanzo down. I leave this in your capable hands, fellows. But then, I hate the but then. I was like, where's the but? I knew it was coming. Quit screwing around! You seriously thought that'd be enough to beat me? In an instant, black shockwaves emitted from Hanzo, who stood at the epicenter. In the blink of an eye, Yoichi and Tojo, who just closed in on Hanzo, were knocked back by shockwaves that appeared out of nowhere. I hate that. But then, damn it! He wasn't even swinging his sword at them. Yuichi and Tojo were both knocked to the ground after being blasted at such close range. It was the same attack he'd used just once before when he'd been cornered.
Who said impeccable swordsmanship was the only trick I had on my sleeve? I can use Blightfall moves too, you know. Let's see it then.
Up until this point, Hanzo had never been able to use moves like these one after another. Having a perfectly compatible container like Kuga seemed to be allowing him to go above and beyond his own abilities.
Kinji, what do we do?
It's settled. We have no other choice. Right at that moment, Kinji took up his sword once more and charged toward Hanzo. Those look more like daggers, or like tiny baby swords, but whatever.
Huh, you don't know when to quit. You're getting real desperate now.
From then on, a one-on-one fight unfolded between Kinji and Hanzo. As they went sword to sword, Kinji got in more blows, but Hanzo parried them all. In fact, he was steadily giving Kinji one cut after another every chance he could.
This isn't over.
Don't hurt my beautiful one. A normal person would have collapsed by now, but Kinji fought back like a wild demon. Thanks to his persistence, he was also slowly but surely inflicting damage on Hanzo. Of course, there was no way I could step in. The moment I did, it would all be for naught.
Something's up right here. How are you still standing after taking so many hits?
Because I have a reason to win this. I'm not about to let you have your way.
Well, you little...
Hanzo then emitted more black shockwaves, like the kind that had knocked Yoichi and Tojo back. Though not a lethal wound by any means, it was still enough to distract Kinji.
Die!
Then Kinji took the full force of his quick draw slash at point-blank range.
No.
Even Kinji wasn't able to withstand that attack. He fell to the ground, completely limp. Oh, is he making a bad end? This doesn't feel like a good end. Kinji!
What a bunch of fools! All your meddling did was hasten your death. Oh, not dead yet? It doesn't matter. Same difference if you can't stand in my way anymore. Well, that just leaves you now, doesn't it?
I honestly couldn't bring myself to respond when Hanzo spoke to me. I had no clue what to do in a completely hopeless situation like this. Even though I had my dagger at the ready, my mind was in utter shambles.
Ugh, seriously, lady? Your hands are shaking. That reminds me, I owe you one.
What?
It's all thanks to you that I managed to get my hands on Genjiro's body in the first place, you know? Weren't you the one who brought his heart back? I was watching the entire time you had that heartwarming conversation. Can't believe that was what triggered it. It was so touching and nearly brought me to tears. Tears of laughter, obviously.
Hanzo is such a fucking douche.
How would Genjiro Kuga feel if you died? And if he knew he'd killed you with his own two hands, too? Dang, just picturing it's making me smile.
Hanzo approached one step at a time as he muttered all of this. All I could do was watch. I was so nervous and in so much shock that my body wouldn't budge. Right, I have to save...
Spacey! Run!
I heard Yoichi's faint voice from beside me, where he was lying on the ground. He couldn't even get up, and yet he was worried about me. The moment I saw Yoichi looking so feeble, all fear-ridden thoughts were completely wiped from my mind. Run? I definitely can't win against Hanzo. No, Kuga. But if I run away now, it would all be over. I couldn't possibly do that. Hanzo was right. I was the one who had started all of this. You know, I like that she's like, fuck that shit, I'm not gonna run, look what you did to Yoichi! He's in a pretty little puddle. It's sad and pathetic. And you might have killed Kinji. And I'm kind of mad about that. I'm sure they're all fine, but, you know. I caused Kuga's heart to awaken. I couldn't deny that I gave Hanzo the opportunity to possess Kuga. Meaning, if I don't take responsibility for this to the bitter end, who will? I was absolutely going to get Kuga back. Strangely, Yoichi's plea got me fired up. Ah! I readied my dagger in my grip once more and immediately charged at Hanzo.
Whoa, you still got the nerve to take me on?
Hanzo smiled, positively delighted to see this. He took up his own blade and effortlessly hammered his sword into my dagger. Though he clearly hadn't put much force into his attack, his blade felt terribly heavy when it made contact. I barely managed to fend it off, but that one strike made my arm hurt so bad it almost felt like it might break. Well, we tried. Hey, that's all I can say. Like, listen, she tried. Okay? Looking at you, Chizuru from fucking Hakuoki, who's, I was trained in a sword, but like, I don't know how to use one, and I keep falling off a cliff. God, I hated that bitch. I know Hakuoki Sweet School Life is good. Listen, I know. But like, first of all, why'd they draw her where her eyes are falling off her fucking face? She looks like a melting potato. It's horrible. Talk about giant saucer eyes. The worst. It's literally the worst. But also, like, she was supposedly trained with a sword. Now, I get it. You're gonna have your you're gonna have your man folks save you, okay? But like, look at this. We know damn well we're barely scraping by here, and we're like, whatever. But we are trying. We're trying, okay? And that's all I ask. Not that shit where she's like, I was trained in a sword, but like, oh my god, like, can barely fucking hold one and never ever use it, never does anything. And it's like, you can at least try and like, yeah, you're gonna get your ass handed to you in like 2 seconds, but I'd be like, valiant attempt though. You know what I mean? Like, we knew nothing about self-defense. Yoichi taught us, and we made an attempt, and like, yeah, we kind of got our ass handed to us. But hey, we fucking tried. All right? We weren't just, I don't know what to do, waiting for a half-dead man to save us. One of them might pop in and save us. We might save the day. I don't know, but I'm just saying. I'm proud of this chick. All right? She's cool. I like her. You know? She's not giving me any reason to be like, girl, what the fuck? I mean, sometimes. Girl, what the fuck? Hurry it up. Get your man. Walk and talk, guys. But, you know, still, that was the only Wabon, you know. Could have gotten here faster. If we hadn't been sitting there, we could have been like, let's walk and go. But I get it. I get why. You know, we were going to then get everyone on horseback. We got a plan. But if we had some sense of urgency, we might have gotten here sooner. Just saying. Might not have been this bad. Would have been almost this bad. Did I read that? I have no idea. My arm was numb from my shoulder to my fingertips. All I could do was try not to drop my dagger.
Heh, you're weak. I'm cutting you some slack, you know.
Give Kuga back. Kuga wouldn't want this at all.
Heh, that all you got?
I promptly flipped my blade over and attempted to aim for his vitals, but Hanzo reacted with almost superhuman quickness and dodged my attack. It must have just been a difference in skill. As desperate as I was, he didn't have a single scratch on him. Still, I couldn't give up. Kuga's gonna fight back harder inside because now Hanzo is kicking your ass. Don't give in, Kuga! Don't hand yourself over to someone like him after you just got yourself back! I'll save you!
Oh, shut up!
Just then, Hanzo casually lifted his foot and kicked me right in the pit of my stomach. The blow took me by surprise. I crumpled on top of the snow.
You know, it would have been kind of cute if you just run away like the good little girl.
Or like a good little girl.
You can call him all you want, but it's no use. Genjiro Kuga will never surface again. He's fated to suffer at my hands. No matter how much he hates it or screams and cries here inside, in my heart, I'll never stop, because that's how I'm getting my revenge. Ha! You seriously thought you could get him back through the power of love? Well, too bad!
I don't know, it always seems to work in the power of friendship. Hanzo grinned from ear to ear, looking down on me as I lay there on the ground. To be fair, the power of love would absolutely not motherfucking save you in anything in the real world. But this isn't a Tome game, so like, fuck yeah, I expected the power of love to save me. I'm not stupid. Dark emotions I'd never seen before crossed a face I only recognized as Kuga's. It's not Kuga. Not the Kuga I fell in love with. He was right here before my very eyes, yet horribly far away. Seeing this made starkly apparent, I began seething with anger.
But there's one thing I do know. If I'm happy that my seal's been broken, it means I'm happy because of you, Spacey. I suppose that means I'm also happy that you're happy.
Oh, that's what he said back then. He said he wanted to live, even if he wasn't a vessel, even if he couldn't carry out his duties. Even after saying that for the first time in his life, he's. Nonsense!
What?
Enough of this nonsense! Before I knew it, the words were flying out of my mouth. I couldn't take it back at that point. I faced Hanzo, glaring at him and hissing everything that came to my mind. Here's the thing, like, you've been living in this mountain and you've been praying at the shrine. The god of this shrine should be giving you more power than Hanzo, because he should be like, well, you're actually nice and this guy's a douche. You should not have given your power to the wrong guy, god dude. Kuga's only similarity to Gengoemon Akahori is his looks. So why are you so fixated on him? And not just Kuga. Why are you so obsessed with causing trouble for all the form folk and residents of Edo? I stood up slowly as I said this. My stomach still hurt from being kicked, but I wasn't worried about that right now. I couldn't put up with the anger inside me. Besides, didn't you hear what Kuga said earlier? He doesn't want to burden you with the same crimes as Akahori. It was so kind of him to want that for you. Did you even hear him? What you're doing isn't vengeance. You're just taking your anger out on people. The moment those last few barbed words left my lips, a look of shock crossed Hanzo's face for the very first time. He must not have expected me to point that out. No, actually, the look on his face suggested he had a faint idea it was true.
Shut up! Shut up! Shut up! How would you know how it feels losing everything I held dear?
I do know, because I'm right about to lose someone who means the world to me. The one person I love most. Give Kuga back. I took out my dagger again and charged at Hanzo as a last-ditch effort. I wanted Kuga back, even if it meant sacrificing myself.
You fool! You seriously thought that would work?
Hanzo readied his sword once more to fend off my attack. Oh, but now Kuga's going to be fighting him inside. I knew that I wouldn't win, even if I charged him head on. Still, all I could do was bet everything on this. However, his sword remained completely still long after he'd swung it at me. No, it appeared to be Hanzo's arm that wasn't moving.
What's going on here?
Hanzo made attempts to unleash energy using the black threads wrapped around his entire body, but that didn't seem to be working for him either. Yes! That meant he had no way of dodging my blade.
Yeah!
I frantically stabbed Hanzo with my dagger, which was now sticking out of his abdomen. Then, since I was in close quarters, Hanzo embraced me to keep me from moving.
What the?
He wasn't going to counterattack like this, was he? No, now it's Kuga. I instinctively froze, imagining the worst possible outcome. But then...
Spacey, thank you.
It wasn't Hanzo. I heard a sweet and familiar voice whispering into my ear. I immediately looked up and saw a familiar and gentle smile on Hanzo's... No, Kuga's face. Look at our little CG! It came out of nowhere! Look at him embracing it. Okay, but like, where the fuck did Hanzo go? Someone get the doll. Kuga? Is it really you? Look at the little sweet smile on his face. It's so precious.
It is. I'm back thanks to you.
Kuga! It was him, without a doubt. Oh my god, is this CG going to turn into a kiss CG? The moment I heard him say that, I was so overcome with emotion that I burst into tears. Kuga, the person I'd been looking for, was here. He'd taken his body back from Hanzo and was holding me in his arms. Then I instantly remembered what I'd just done. I'm sorry! My dagger's lodged in your stomach! What a perfect time to remember that.
Don't worry about it. If you hadn't stabbed me, I wouldn't have been able to regain control. I heard everything you said during the battle, including your voice calling my name. It worked up the strength to come back because I wanted to answer you. You're the only reason I can even feel that way. I don't think that would have ever occurred to me if I were still a vessel. Spacey, I love you.
Stop it, I'm gonna die! And everybody else is like, we're all bleeding to death. Kuga's feelings, his warm love for me, slowly sank in. All I could manage to do was vigorously nod my head. I do too. I love you too, Kuga. It's gonna make me cry.
Ah!
Just then, a tangled mass of pitch-black threads oozed from Kuga's body. It's not over yet, but it almost is. It was Hanzo. He must have been driven out of Kuga's body when my dagger attack awakened Kuga's self. He was now in spirit form, like I'd seen before.
Enough of this bullshit! How come nothing ever works out for me? How come he's the only one who gets to be happy? I refuse to accept this whole charade!
Hanzo yelled resentfully before throwing himself at Kuga again. He must have been planning to occupy Kuga's body one more time.
Not on my watch.
Before the rest of us could react, Yoichi, who was lying on the ground next to Kuga, used his sword to fling something. It was the doll Kyoshiro had handed us. Yoichi intended to bind Hanzo to a brand new container as planned.
What the?
Hanzo didn't even react to the doll being suddenly flung at him. The moment the doll passed through a section of Hanzo's spirit body, he was immediately sucked into it. We'd succeeded in merging Hanzo with the doll.
Genjiro!
I'm on it.
At that moment, Kuga adjusted his grip on the sword in his hand. Once he made sure I'd stooped out of the way, or stepped out of the way, I would feel like.
And this is the one thing I can do for you, as family.
Kuga sliced into the doll. As soon as he did, it turned to dust and melted into the snow, where it disappeared. Kuga watched all of this happen in silence, his eyes filled with emotions too complicated to describe. Because the battle was over. Huh? I whipped around because I thought I'd heard someone's voice. There wasn't a single soul around, however. The only thing there was the shrine I knew so well. It was a question mark and then it was just like dashes, so it was like, whisper. Was that my imagination just now, or... But then Kuga, who'd been standing beside me, staggered and nearly collapsed to the ground. It's going to be really hard for me to try to drag all these chuckle fucks back to the base. Kuga! I propped him back up right away. He still had my dagger sticking out of his stomach, a serious injury on its own, but Kuga's entire body was also covered in wounds from fighting with the other Oniwaban. Not to mention the fact that Kinji's in 2 pieces. I'm so sorry, Kuga. I'll call a doctor right away.
I'm fine. None of these injuries are life-threatening. And unless you pull the dagger out, I won't bleed everywhere and make a mess. In fact, I'm more worried about you and the other...
Oh, right. What about everyone else? If Hanzo had severely wounded them, their lives might be in danger. I whipped around and saw everyone else was already beginning to stir. Did the shrine, give everyone back their lives? The shrine god was like, thanks, that kid was really pestering me.
I'm not that weak. I'm in quite a bit of pain.
Yoichi's like, I can handle this, and Tominari's like, I hurt.
Well, I'm just glad to be alive. Ow, ow, ow.
Otaro, you seem a bit better off than the rest of us. Go to the village at the foot of the mountain and call for help.
Poor Kinji.
Me? But I'm in pain too. Well...
Looks like they're all okay. He's like, I'm in pain too. You're something else. You were something else. There was something about him. Because you know what I mean? They already made it during Tojo's route, and then he pieced out. Everybody else did whatever or stayed at their job, and then he was like, I'm leaving. And it's like, I don't know. There's something, and then you're locked. I don't know. Something sus about you. I would be shocked if we went, he's like, I'm just a normal vessel like everybody else. I would be shocked if he didn't have some other kind of you know what I mean? Because Tojo was just, a tobacco pouch, and he just kind of got emotions back, so they were going to kill him because they thought he was the Blightfall or whatever. And Kuga got possessed by Blightfall, but was actually a sword that Hanzo's
dad made, whatever. You know what I mean? But I feel like everyone's going to have a little story or whatever, but I feel like Otaro's got something else. There's a little much here. You know what I mean? Anyway, does it? I'm glad to hear that. The others weren't able to get right back on their feet like Otaro could, but they were probably fine if they were this talkative. See, he got sliced and then he was like, I'm cool. I'm just saying, something sus. I watched them in relief when... Spacey... Mere moments after he called my name, Kuga put his arm around my shoulders. Then he pulled me closer to him. Kuga? You know everyone's watching. They already heard his confession. They're not stupid. Sorry. Do you mind letting me do this for a little while? Our heads and shoulders were now touching. What is this all about? I guess he's doing this because he wants me to stay here beside him? As I thought this to myself, Kuga gave me an even tighter squeeze using the arm he'd wrapped around me. To keep me from touching the dagger still plunged into his stomach, of course. Just then, Kuga started affectionately rubbing his head against me. Aw. I took a peek at his face and noticed he seemed to be in pain. Right. In his current state, letting go of me wouldn't be a good thing at all for Kuga. We'd managed to save Ito and its people. To us, there was no happier outcome. But Hanzo hadn't just been an enemy to Kuga. The feeling was probably too complicated, too overwhelming for him to bear on his own. And yet he thanked me anyway. I felt my chest tighten up. Thank you so much, Kuga. Hold on, buddy. Hold on. We've been at this for an hour, and I'm thinking we'll get our end in this part, but... Oh, no! Don't quick save, sorry. I dropped my thing. I put it on the side of my couch, but the bird's getting fidgety, and it's been an hour, and he needs a potty break, so... Here you go. I know, you're being a good boy. You were sitting comfy. Good boy, thank you. You were sitting all comfy, but I could tell you were like, oh, God! He's getting all wiggly. You're getting all poopy fidgeties. You need a potty break, and you know what? I'm not going to make you, because you know what? This is the end, but we might go a little longer than the normal hour, because it's already an hour. And, no, sorry. So, anyway, here you go, Boogaroo. Do you feel better? I know. You feel better than you was holding it for so long. Just a good boy. All right. Dagger toes. Anyway, for what? Did I read the prior line? I don't know. Oh, thank you so much, Kuga. I don't know if I read that. For what? For coming back. It makes me so happy just knowing you're alive and right here beside me. I whispered this without much thought, only for Kuga to then peer at me with a rather pained expression. You've always done the same for me. You're always so warm and welcoming and accepting. Spacey, I've been saved countless times by having you in my life. Kuga... It's all thanks to you, Spacey. I came back because you wanted me to. I managed to save my family, and for that, thank you. Kuga looked up to the heavens while whispering this to keep his tears from falling. Aww! He's never cried before. I looked up at the sky along with him and saw stars twinkling through the cloud cover. I watched as snow fell around us, an almost spellbinding sight. Blightfall's power grow after dark. I was terrified of night falling while traveling here alone. Despite being on the verge of losing myself, I was still worried you were somewhere out there beneath this dark sky, going through a difficult time. But now, it looks so beautiful to me. It really is beautiful. And probably because I'm with you, Spacey. Then Kuga gently smiled at me. The moment I saw the warm smile on his face, I just knew the same peaceful life we had before, and for Kuga, life of peace, had returned. I wish moments like this could last forever. Now, I hope that we'll get even more moments like these together, moments completely free of any sorrow. Thinking this made the sky look more special than anything I'd ever seen in my life. With Kuga by my side, I quietly reflected on the happiness he brought me. Okay.
Final chapter! So we'll go a little long today because, we got final chapter. Rice bowls ready, pickles ready, and side dishes ready. All I have left to do is make tea and, while it's still hot, bring it to Kuga in the garden where he's training.
Hey, Spacey.
I was hoping to bring him breakfast while it was still warm, but he came back before I had the chance. Well, it's warm now.
You're already done making breakfast. You're always up so early.
Oh, not at all. This is the least I can do. I honestly wanted to bring it to you before you were done with your training, but Kuga was such an early bird that I could be determined to wake up early and still not be able to get everything ready in time. For the last few days, I'd been secretly excited about making a modest dream come true, having breakfast together on the veranda while taking in the morning sun. Kuga must be feeling better now that his stomach wound is all healed up. Guess I'm no match for his enthusiasm being back in business after taking it easy. Kuga? What's the matter?
Nothing. I was just thinking I should help you make breakfast in the morning before training starts tomorrow.
Huh? Oh, is my cooking still that dire? It's a little better than when I was working for you. I mean, I haven't burned any fish since then.
That's not what I meant. Since we're living together, I just don't think I should be letting you take care of everything.
Get this man a medal. We live together, it's not your job to take care of everything. What the fuck? That's king behavior right there. Simple shit. Don't even worry about that. I'm your servant, so of course I'll do the chores around here. Maybe you should just be his wife.
But just for now, right?
He's like, 'cause we're getting married soon. Huh?
Besides, I mostly just wanted to do something for you.
I know what you could do for me. Huh?
Did I say something odd?
No, it's nothing. What did he mean just now? Several months had gone by since we'd solved the Hanzo case. Once embroiled in a long stretch of chaos and turmoil, Ida was now enjoying unprecedented levels of peace. This was because, ever since the battle we'd fought that day, Blightfall had stopped appearing for the most part.
It's conceivable, I suppose, that the god who granted Hanzo his powers had something to do with the large amounts of Blightfall appearing all over the city. Perhaps the other Blightfall vanished due to your purifying the god along with Hanzo. And now that they're both gone, however, we have no way to know for sure.
It was the opinion of the shogunate, or rather of Lord Yoshimune. Nevertheless, Blightfall hadn't entirely disappeared. They occasionally spawned on their own after large disagreements or fires. Still, the Oniwamon's lives and mindsets had shifted quite a bit compared to before, when we were busy going on daily patrols and slaying Blightfall.
What's wrong, Spacey? You've been acting strange for a while. Are you feeling under the weather? If you are, you should cancel your plans for today and get some rest.
Not at all. I feel great, so relax. I get out enough too. Wow.
Really?
Yes, really.
You don't look pale, and it doesn't seem like you have a fever either. I'm glad.
Kuga moved my bangs out of the way and gently placed his hand on my forehead. His gentle touch and kind expression made my heart skip a beat. Kuga's such a nice guy. Didn't you guys confess your love for each other? So, like, are you gonna kiss ever? It's been months. He's always been nice, but lately he's been even more so. Kuga really does have feelings for me after all. I mean, I know you stabbed him, but it wasn't like he said he loved you and then you stabbed him and you're like, maybe he changed his mind. You stabbed him and then he said he loved you. So I'm going to go with he ain't changing his mind, you know? Although we'd proclaimed our love for each other that day during the final battle, we never specifically talked about it. Well, that's just stupid. Although I can understand that. You after the final battle and then people are healing and you're doing stuff and then you're like, it's been a couple weeks. Should we talk about it? Has it been too long? Or should we talk about it? Is he thinking about it? Maybe he doesn't think about it anymore. Maybe I'm crazy for thinking about it and he's probably doing the same thing because, like, You know, you had to have people heal and everything like that. And like, yeah, no. Now you're like, has it been too long? Are we just forgetting about this whole thing? And because of that, we continued living the same way we had before, even after things quieted down. Yeah, it's about time for you two to get off, like, shit or get off the pot. Kiss each other now. Maybe I should try bringing it up again. Hey, you know how you said you liked me earlier? No, he said he loved you. Wait, Kuka doesn't necessarily mean the same thing I do when I use that word. I can't find the courage to ask. Who the hell's saying, hey now, don't just walk in without any greetings? I said I would just in a sec. Genjiro, Spacey. I don't know who's talking to who. Oh, everybody. I heard a cheery voice just then coming from the foyer. Before long, a few familiar faces had entered the house. Everyone's alive. Well, we don't know if Otaro's alive. I'm assuming, because he was the sort of fine one. Oh, it's you guys. I'm stopping by for another visit. They're going to be like, oh, there's Otaro. He's going to be like, we just want to know if you guys have confessed your love for each other again, because, like, Jesus, it's been months. God, you guys are idiots. Come on, don't be rude and call it a visit. This is a full-fledged investigation. A seal-breaking committee. There's nothing we can do to assist the public Oniwabon today, since Blightfall haven't been appearing anywhere. It's left us all with free time on our hands.
So we thought, why not ask Kuga and Spacey to tell us everything they know?
And this time we all brought lottery tickets. We're thinking that if someone hits the jackpot, they'll be so surprised it'll break the seal on their heart.
Tojo, you're so cute.
Sorry we came while you guys were eating breakfast, though. Yuichi's eating our breakfast!
He's just munching away over there.
Yuichi's eating our breakfast without asking again.
Yuichi was the only one I wasn't entirely sure wanted to break the seal on his heart. I had a sneaking suspicion he was only here to eat.
Choop, 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 choop!
There's Kamame.
Munch, 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 munch. The bird's chirping and he's munching.
Yuichi continues to be a huge hit with Kamame, even though he's picking out. Kamame was usually still pretty sleepy around this time of day, but today she was full of energy and clinging to Yuichi.
Kamame, glad to see you're doing good. It's been one cold day after another recently, so I was
And she still hates Tojo, too. Again, it's probably because he smells like tobacco, you know what I mean?
Instead of the lottery, you'd probably have more luck surprising yourself into breaking your seal if you got Kamame to like you, Kunitaka.
It's true. If some have their seals broken by love, then perhaps others regain their hearts at the whims of sparrows. Rather profound, don't you think?
Hey, if you're gonna make fun of me, at least do it loudly. The thought of you guys being worried about me makes me feel even more hollow. Makes it feel even more hollow.
I'm not all that worried about you. I was just trying to act concerned for show in case it had any effect on my seal.
Kenji's like, I was just pretending, thinking that maybe my heart would believe it and then the seal would break, but it's not falling for my bullshit.
You're on the right track, though, Kunitaka. It feels hollow to you, doesn't it? It does.
Otaro does have a point. Before my seal broke, I felt uneasy and worried. As I mentioned before, in Spacey's opinion, it's very likely that the seal is on the feelings of having a heart rather than our hearts themselves. If you're looking to break your seals, keep doing things that elicit emotions from you. I'll pitch in where I can. Does punching you in the face elicit an emotion?
I'm trying my best. It's inevitable that we have all this free time on our hands without Blightfall to slay.
Well, duh. We had a lot going on, what with us juggling our public lives with our Oniwabon jobs. It wouldn't have been worth our time to start anything new. True enough. I also didn't think I needed a heart as a vessel. Maybe I should have one since I'm a teacher, though.
I thought we'd be turned back into objects since our jobs went away, but it doesn't seem like Lord Yoshimune wants to do that. Lunch? Of course not. He's got his use out of us, so he won't unless he's got a good reason to.
The vessels would have never been caught dead saying any of this if it weren't so peaceful. Once it was clear Blightfall numbers had dropped, Lord Yoshimune granted us the freedom to live our lives however we wished. The imaginary situation I talked about with Mimi had become reality. The first thing I did was offer to be Kuga's servant. However, the other vessels, save for Kyoshiro, still hadn't decided what they wanted to do, so they continued to live the same as they had before, aside from their Oniwaban duties. Kuga still seemed to be thinking about what his future held for him and spent his days leisurely assisting the public Oniwaban along with the others. For a while, I was worried they might get rid of Kuga because the seal on his heart broke. I never imagined things would be so tranquil. The vessels would form a seal-breaking committee. Life worked in mysterious ways. Yeah, and then they'll break their seals, and we'll break them, and then we'll have a man harem. Well, I kind of get the sense they're just trying to kill time and don't really want to break their seals that badly.
Well, glad you managed to clear up the townspeople's misunderstanding. You can walk around town normally now, right?
I can, although I would have preferred it if my bad reputation just went away. What am I supposed to make of Lord Miyagi convincing everyone that I solved the case?
Isn't it a good thing, since you actually did? Wouldn't it be much simpler to leave it be than to explain the situation to all of them?
It definitely would. The townsfolk had found it odd from the start that the formfolk who'd been acting out had unanimously said things like, "For Hanzo!" and "Bring Genjiro out!" Miyagi zeroed in on this and spread rumors that a bad guy was targeting Kuga, deceiving formfolk and sowing chaos throughout Edo. And just when the formfolk who'd been asleep as an effect of Hanzo's powers woke up and went back to normal, Kuga returned to the capital covered in battle scars. Therefore, they accepted the rumors as true. Kuga's reputation had done a complete 180 as a result. Instead of being treated as an abhorrent villain, he was now a hero again.
However, I don't deserve to be regarded as a hero.
Okay, well, he was respected and liked, and then he was a villain, and now he's a hero, so he just progressed a little. He was down in spot A, and then he kind of swung to the right to spot B, evil, and then when he swung back around to A, it just went up a notch. So, like, he's making a spiral up. I was really happy for you, though. They all seemed to be relieved to know you were innocent, too.
Were they?
Yeah, don't they seem kind of happy even though they've been apologizing to you? It hurt a lot that nobody believed Kuga back when the terrible rumors were going around. But now I sort of understood how the townspeople had felt at the time. They'd only been saying all those bad things about Kuga because of the rumors Hanzo had been spreading about him, of course, but they were probably sad that the Kuga they knew might have been a total sham. Kuga and the other vessels weren't the only ones who learned about hearts through this series of incidents. I had too. Anger, hatred, and occasionally a thirst for blood. These may have been the emotions visible from the surface, but underneath lurked more complex feelings. I thought I knew everything through the use of threads, but now I felt like I understood things using my own heart.
Oh yeah, that reminds me. I wanted to ask you something, Genjiro.
Ask me what?
What do you make of this picture?
Yuichi produced a very lewd painting. You can't just pull stuff like that out in front of people!
As I'd expect from a human like you, young miss. We get nothing from it. I mean, I can tell what they're doing and all, but too bad since it was so expensive.
To be really honest, I can't tell at all. The vessels were acting a bit more human because of their interest in hearts, but we're still no different when it came to things like this.
Otaro's like, I think they're having sex, but like, whatever, does nothing for me.
Aww. Look at our little ace kings up in here.
Sorry, Spacey, you don't have to look at it.
Now I'm thinking, didn't we do that last night? I'm just kidding.
What do you think, Kuga?
Honestly, I don't find it all that interesting.
We're like, damn it.
Huh? You too, Genjiro? What if it was Spacey?
What? Tojo, you can't just ask that while I'm right here! How embarrassing! This is okay for her to be embarrassed now. This is embarrassing, but hilarious. Huh? Why me?
Tojo, that was rude of you to ask.
And truly, and no matter how Genjiro answers, it'll be awkward for the young lady.
Didn't know you could be like that,
Kunataka. Me? Why am I the one at fault here? Well, I mean, I know I messed up, and I'm sorry about that. Maybe this doesn't mean anything. We still have no clue if vessels can have children with humans, right? Shut up, don't you bring babies into this, okay? Fuck that. I was really happy thinking I will never have to be subjected to that bullshit. We can practice, but I don't want it. Yeah, I mean, doesn't it just make sense that you still wouldn't have that urge even after getting your heart back? Hey! That urge does not have anything to be like, I have an urge to make a baby. No. That's different, sweetie. Some people have that urge, and the other people are like, I have the urge to bone. Different. Same action, different, but they're different mentalities. Okay, stop that. Well, Kuga's like, can't answer. Trying really hard. Excuse me, Kuga, we need to leave soon, otherwise we'll get home late. The conversation seemed like it would head in a weird direction if I let it go on any longer, so I decided to go ahead and remind Kuga of our plans. True. Sorry to ask this when you only just came to visit, but could you please leave as well?
Huh. Why don't you come with us to hear the lottery winners? I was hoping to proudly rub it in your faces if I won.
We're going somewhere today. It's the month anniversary of his death.
Ah, gotcha.
Oh, we're gonna go to visit Hanzo? The rest of them nodded in understanding when I explained why. It said several months, and now it's the month anniversary, so it's not several months. We were leaving to visit Hanzo's grave. You know what I mean? So, actually, this end chapter could have been its own part, but whatever. I'm glad the weather's nice today. You guys don't mind. Every once in a while, you get excited about long parts, so.
Agreed.
After I performed the snow sacrament on Hanzo, he disappeared without a trace, along with the doll prepared by the Oniwaban. Because of this, there was nothing buried beneath the gravestone we'd set up at the bottom of the hill. The grave was something Kuga had made to signify his passing. Choop choop! Kamame seemed quite fond of the area because she was normally a city bird. She paced in circles, enjoying our walk.
And don't go too far, Kamame.
You see, we don't need kids. We have a bird. Good enough. Kuga and Kamame are pretty close now. He's adopted our feather child. It warmed my heart to see her follow his command and walk right beside us. I'm sorry. I'm just picturing us walking and this little bird speeding along. Because when you've seen birds walking is hilarious. My bird does it and he runs and it's a little waddle run and it's just the cutest fucking thing. You're like, you look ridiculous, but it's adorable. So I can imagine bird run and it's cute as shit. After looking at her, Kuga offered the flowers he was holding to Hanzo's grave. Then he quietly clapped his hands together and looked up at the sky, looking rather moved.
Spacey, I still have no memory of being a sword.
Right.
But when Hanzo took over my body, he showed me many of his own memories. Including the moment my previous owner, Lord Ishii, honed me. Hanzo watched him work on the sword. Lord Ishii said they'd celebrate his coming of age with the same Genpuku ceremony as Genzo, and the wakizashi was a present.
And by that, he meant the wakizashi you came from, right?
He did. Hanzo was really looking forward to seeing that promise come true.
And then some guy came, murdered his family, and took what was supposed to... Yeah, I mean...
Apparently his family half-jokingly pointed out that the sword might become a form folk before that ever happened. But Hanzo said he'd be even happier if it did, that he'd gladly welcome a younger brother.
Oh, stop!
There ended up being a huge difference between what Hanzo pictured and the future that actually awaited him, but I'm certain he also thought of me as family.
It was just, he was so... Like, okay, there might have been a part inside of him, but he was so fucking encased in rage that that logical, maybe happy part deep down wasn't ever going to surface, you know?
I have irrefutable evidence of our familial bond, so I'm glad I was able to give him a proper send-off.
Then Kuga quietly peered over at me. The look on his face was bittersweet. but rather than somber, it seemed filled with hope for the future. Now you tell me you love me and kiss me.
Spacey, it's all thanks to you that I managed to reunite with my family and get to know my own heart. Having you in my life has kept me going, and you've shown me the joy in life. I would love to live the rest of our lives together, supporting each other, so...
CG? CG? Oh, look, it's pretty. It's so pretty.
Spacey, would you like to be part of my family?
We're getting proposed to!
Kuga. Being on the other end of his intense, dead serious gaze made me unconsciously tense up. Because I was overjoyed, of course. I was so overjoyed, however, that I couldn't immediately think of anything to say back. Meanwhile, Kuga began to speak again.
I knew I should have proposed to you shortly after we expressed our feelings for each other. I just wasn't sure how to go about it.
Oh, he's so adorable.
Half-heartedly asking you for your hand might have just made you worry instead, and I want to make you happy.
You already do, sweetie. I'm gonna cry.
So after doing some thinking about my future, I've made up my mind. I'd like to continue striving to protect Ito as a castle watchman. The bad reputation I gained from Hanzo's rumors has already gone away. Even without Blightfall cropping up again, Ito's citizens need someone to maintain the peace. Who would be better suited for it than me? Someone who was already doing it in the first place. It's strange. My body no longer follows vessel logic, and yet I still want people to live peaceful, uneventful lives. Nothing would make me happier than having you at my side. Is that wrong of me?
I'd never seen Kuga like this before. He seemed a bit unsure of himself, but was staring directly at me, almost insistently. When I saw him looking at me that way, no, even before that, I knew how exactly to respond. Not at all. I'd love to be your family, your wife.
Stop it, I'm gonna cry.
Are you sure, Spacey?
I've never been more sure of anything in my life.
Yes, I said I loved you, didn't I? I'm glad, so glad that you love me too. I was incredibly, utterly relieved, partly because I'd been fretting about it myself. Before I knew it, tears were welling up in my eyes, almost.
Apologies. It looks like I made you worry after all. I'm worthless.
No, don't be sorry. It's my fault for not asking you myself. I wasn't brave enough to bring it up.
So I didn't show my love for you enough. I'm still not sure how to express myself. I'll be more open with you about my feelings from now on, so I don't make you worry. Would that be all right with you?
Yeah, thank you so much.
Spacey, I love you with all my heart.
I love you too.
I'm of the firm belief that we could raise a lovely family together. I'm lucky I'll get to have someone like you as a wife, Spacey.
We have a family. Her name is Komame.
To be frank, I'd love to have children with you.
Don't ruin it! Don't ruin it! Don't ruin it! Huh? But...
I couldn't say it in front of everyone else, but I do have those sorts of desires as well. And only for you, of course.
You have those sorts of desires. I mean, we could go home and practice, but I'm really hoping no babies happen.
I might not be able to have children because I'm a vessel, but I'd love to do what husbands and wives do with you. Would you mind that?
That is the unsexiest sexy talk ever, and I love it so much. Like, I might not be able to have kids, but you want to practice? Oh, sweetie, all the damn time, yes.
No, I wouldn't. I'd also, love to actually be husband and wife with you.
The thing that's so fun, it's still, I think what's kind of cute is the whole, like, well, like, we might not be able to have kids, so I guess that's why we don't have those desires. And it's like, oh, you're adorable, you sweet summer children. That you're like, she's over here like, I mean, people do that, like, oh, of course, they never told the girls any of this shit. And all the boys here are like vessels, so they clueless. But, like, women were always kept in the dark about shit. About everything. Like, no, don't tell her about what to expect on her wedding night or how babies are made. Don't tell her that shit. She'll figure it out someday. Are you fucking kidding me? You sent your fucking daughters into, like, marriage and they didn't know what the fuck shit was, and they're like, what is that? What are you gonna do with that? And you really didn't prepare anybody? Jesus. Your mom should have taught you that shit. I mean, our mom's dead, but I meant, like, in general. But you know what I mean? But it's just so adorable that in this they're like, I mean, I might not be able to have kids, but like, I mean, we could like maybe do those things because like try. And it's like, oh, sweetie, you don't have to make babies, just have sex. You can just have sex for funsies. Like, but it's still in this, they're in this mentality of like, we have sex just to procreate. But I might not be able to procreate, but we could try. No, you could just do it for fun. That's so cute that you don't know you could do it for fun. You'll figure it out. Don't worry about it. The most awkward conversation. I love it. I was so embarrassed. I wasn't sure I'd be able to say the last part out loud. No, I feel that though. It's a very awkward, weird conversation, but it's funny as hell. My cheeks were hot and my face was bright red. As I stood there with my head hung low, Kuga smiled with utter delight. Let's go home now and practice. You're absolutely adorable. So are you, and this conversation is silly. What? I said exactly what I felt. I just promised you I would, didn't I? You did, but... Oh, no. I was promising it not enough. After pondering to himself for a little while, he turned and faced me again. I think we need a kiss. We never got a kiss, CG. Spacey, I will never, ever make you feel lonely. I promise to work hard every single day so I can protect you. How adorable. Please, accept this as proof. Is it a kiss? Kuga then placed his hand under my chin, lifted my head. You better give me another fucking CG. Damn it, here it is. Here it comes. Oh, hell yeah! Hells to the yeah! And gently brought his lips to mine. How sweet! Oh, it was a kiss so gentle it proved what Kuga had just said. Even though our lips only touched for a brief moment, I could feel my head high... Oh, my already high body heat rising. I can't read right now. I'm too enraptured with this. And Kuga's serious face was surprisingly close to mine. Oh, but look how sweet their little faces look right now, and the little after kiss is so cute. So, did that make for a good enough promise? After kissing me for some time, Kuga quietly moved away from me. Yes, I couldn't be happier. Really, I'm glad. As we continued staring at each other up close, I felt Kuga's large hand, which was propping my head up, gently touch my burning ears. He traced them with his fingertips teasingly, making my heart pound so hard I couldn't utter another word. No, it's not that I can't say anything. Maybe I just wasn't thinking anything because I was so happy. Sometimes all you need is happy, empty head. That's it. I loved Kuga, and I could also tell that Kuga was showering me with just as much affection, if not more. Spacey, let's hurry home and ask Lord Miyagi to request an officiant. I'd like to say my vows and become your husband as soon as possible. He is like, I need to go. He is down to fuck around. Okay. Sure. I'd also love to be your wife sooner rather than later. You would? Oh. That CG could have stayed forever. It's so cute. Again, Kuga? Yes, again. I found myself instinctively pressing my hand against my lips, which still had held traces of his warmth. All right, let's get going then. Once we've decided on a date for the ceremony, we'll have to come back here and tell Hanzo. I'm glad he's openly expressing his love for me and all. I meant immediately, like, find somebody to do it now. But if he does this all the time, my heart might just give out. It's worth it. It's a risk I'm willing to take. What's wrong, Spacey? Nothing. I couldn't possibly refuse when Kuga looked at me like that. When faced with happiness in the truest sense of the word, I probably wouldn't know what to do at times. But with Kuga by my side, I couldn't imagine that would be a problem. Kuga and I were about to be a real family after all. The sun shone brilliantly in the sky, as if shining a light on our future together. I really do love this game. look, and then it's him on the screen. That's so cute. Oh my god. Exhibits. Did we have other bonus? What was in the extras? Oh, there are extras. Whoops. Ah, okay, right. Okay. All right. So even though we're over time, I might forget to do this. So this is like, well, this could have been its own damn part, but whatever. It's here. It's here. So anyway, basic info. Do we read these? Like, I'm Genjiro Kuga. I'm in charge of Castletown with Yuichi. I'm a samurai who was derived from a wakizashi. I was awakened as a vessel on June 10th, so I suppose I'm 27. As our ages are based on our appearance and the order we were awoken. I believe that covers everything. Was that useful? Yes, it was. Oh, right, there's a touch thing, and isn't there an after story thing? Oh, shit. Okay, you know what? Let's do that after the next part. Because that's going to take a while to read through, and we're already like 35 minutes over. So let's do, oops. We have to do our other endings in the next part. Close. So we'll read all of his extra stuff because I think that little bonus thing that little touch thing was a little bonus scene, wasn't it? No, is that a bonus CG? All right, we're going to do that afterward because that's the little bonus CG, I think, that we popped up. We'll do that after the bad endings. Well, the other endings. I don't know if they're bad endings or not, but yeah, just because we're already super over time. So we'll do that. Hopefully I remember. I know in another game we were playing, there was things afterward and I totally forgot to. I'm like, oh, there were things that I forgot to do. Oh, well. You know what? I don't think anybody's noticed yet. But somebody will at some point. But I was like, nah, I already finished the game and then noticed afterward. And I was like, oh yeah, you couldn't tell her legs are literally cramped up on him. That's hilarious. Aww. This one's so cute. And he's like, boobs in my face. Awkward. It's cute. Oh, the awkward hug. He's like, I do not know how to hug. Is this okay? Look at his little face. He's so adorable. I really do love this game. I really do. Everything about it is perfect. It makes me happy. Makes me feel so much better. The scenes sometimes go on forever, so sometimes you can't just stop it at like a perfect hour. So sometimes if I don't have a super long time to record, I can't record it. Like at lunch. Even though those are the times I really need to in the middle of the workday. I need to be like, I need to record this on lunch. I need this game, but today was not one of those days. That's why it's after work. And like I was gonna do the other part too, but I didn't know this one was gonna go on for an hour and a half. So you know what? That'll be tomorrow. So I thought we were gonna get kissed here, but it was like, no, we're gonna save it. We're gonna save it. Oh, this one is so pretty. This is one of my favorites. Like, there's just something about it that's just so pretty. But like, of course, kiss. Stop it. Our kissy CG. It's precious. But this version of it, I know that we have this. The kiss. It's adorable. This is my favorite version of it though. Just the way they're looking at each other. She's like, and he's like, God damn, I just love it. Oh, I love it so much. But anyway, amazing game. I love it so much. I don't have anything else to say. We've already been going for almost 40 minutes over. I'll wrap it up here and we will finish and do all of his other stuff and the little after stories next time. All that, and then we'll get that little, because that's what it is. It's Tojo's little, when we did that, it's the cute little end CG for the character. I remembered that. So we'll see that next time and whatever. So I will see you guys next time. Remember to give the video a big thumbs up and subscribe to see more.